my opinion on Real Housewives of Salt Lake City, and it's been bugging me for a while, and I hope you will enjoy this podcast. If you enjoy it, please like and subscribe. I would really appreciate that because it will help this podcast grow. What I'm wondering is, why in the world are the people at Bravo and the white people on Salt Lake City trying to destroy the black church? None of these people are members of the black church, and they have no real knowledge of the black church. They have one or two people, maybe more, who are complaining of their experiences with the church, but we know that any church has a lot of people who are believers and non-believers. The people on this show, Salt Lake City, are members of the Mormon Church. The Mormon Church is a racist church that is mainly for white people. Now, the Mormon Church says blacks can join the church, but they can never get above the third level. And when the whites talk about the third level, they say that's a level that they don't want to be in because it's a low level. It's similar in some ways to the Jewish religion, where anybody can join, but you can only go up to a certain level. And beyond that level, regardless of how pious you are, how much you pray, you can't get above a certain level in the church. So both of these religions are racist, and yet, for some reason, the whites in Salt Lake City feel that they can go after the black church. I've never been to Salt Lake City, but I have a feeling there aren't many black churches in Salt Lake City. And if this church is helping blacks in Salt Lake City in multiple ways, and the whites are doing nothing to help blacks in Salt Lake City, I think it is really terrible that they should focus with this Real Housewives of Salt Lake City and try to destroy the black church. Bravo is also guilty of trying to destroy the black church. Bravo is a white organization which picks up people on these shows when they feel they might have something they can go after. In this case, Bravo picked up Mary Cosby, who was nothing like the other ladies that they picked up for Real Housewives of Salt Lake City to be cast members. Mary Cosby is very religious, and she is a church leader. She, according to Whitney Rose, is felt to be God in her church. Whitney says Mary's not God, and the other white ladies say Mary is not God. But who are they to judge who is God? And I will address that on another podcast. Who is God? But this show seems fixated on saying repeatedly that Mary is not God, and it is wrong for the people in her church to think in any way that Mary is God. Bravo has also, on every excerpt they have put out, which they have put out many excerpts, kept having Lisa proclaim that some person who was dying and had unknown medical problems, unknown to me, maybe Lisa knows what the medical problems were and the mental status of this person was, but he claimed that something bad happened to him in the church and that he gave $300,000 to the church. If Lisa knew anything about churches, that is not uncommon. In fact, all churches do that. And for Bravo to use this as an example of a black church doing things that are illegal or that are unusual or that are not done in white churches is really defamation and slander. And I think the Mary's Church should go after Bravo for frequently putting out this clip of Lisa claiming because this person gave the church money that Mary in some way was doing something illegal and that she's a criminal. And now they're putting out on Bravo that Mary and her husband are predators with no basis. They just say people in the church say Mary and her husband are predators. Well, if we want to look at predators, let's look at the white church. Let's look at the Mormon church, the Church of Latter-day Saints. This church does a lot of things that are predatory. And in addition to racism, there are many, many scams that these churches put out that are aimed at fundraising. Basically, they're fundraising adventures, and some of which are probably illegal. Churches often go after the ill, and they go after the elderly because those people have money to give out. They have estates that they're going to be leaving, and the church always looks to hook on to these estates. So churches do this frequently, and for Bravo to put this out as a scam or in some way as stealing or something else criminal, I think is defamation and slander. It's libel, and I think that we need to investigate what really is going on with Bravo and what are the underlying goals of this church. And should those religions that are racist, like the Mormon Church in Utah, be excluded from the nonprofit status that they enjoy because they are racist? That's another question we need to explore. So I just wanted to respond to this because I know Bravo's been getting a lot of money off of saying negative things about Mary and her church and criticizing Mary's personality. We don't know God's personality. God might be just like Mary. We don't know Jesus's personality. Jesus could have been as goofy acting as Mary. We don't know. We just know certain things that were picked out and put in the Bible. So who is the judge? The people who killed Jesus were people who were jealous of Jesus. They were jealous of his following, and they were jealous of what he was saying. And we don't know anything about personalities from these people. All we know is that Jesus was claiming to be King of the Jews, and the Jews did not like Jesus saying that he was King of the Jews, and so they felt he should be killed. And when Barabbas and Jesus were put up next to each other, one life would be saved, the other would be crucified, the crowd chose save Barabbas, and Pontius Pilate washed his hands of the whole thing. He said the crowd had chosen. So opinion is very important in the health of these organizations. And back in those days, according to the reports we get, the crowd chose to kill Jesus because they didn't like him saying he was King of the Jews and he had a following. So these are things we need to be conscious of, and we need to not pass these terrible, terrible negative statements onto Mary because rumors can hurt. And as for Whitney Rose, what's the real reason that she discontinued her old company and started a new company for the same cosmetic line? It's because she knows that by starting a new company, she can get 5 years of government deductions without having to make a profit. And as she said on the show, she can write off up to $1 million by starting a new company. even though she's selling the exact same stuff as her old company. So all of these people are scammers in some way, and let's not focus on just Mary and her church. I predict all these people will be trying to open churches in the next few years.